Welcome to Sampstra Games, the place to find new strategy games, and today we're going to play a game, Iratus, Lord of the Dead. If it seems familiar, it's because we played it on this channel about 8 months ago, and it's a really cool game. It's going to come into full release on 23rd of April, so I thought we should show it off. So let's start a brand new game. And we're going to play on more pain, just kind of like the normal difficulty, I guess. Because it's normal to want more pain. I mean, who wants a cakewalk? Nobody.
Life is a disease. A millennium ago, a supreme necromancer was on the verge of conquering the world. But you know what they say about best laid plans. Inevitably, heroes shall emerge. So I was made dead again. But what does death really mean for somebody who has mastered it? Boredom. An eternity to ponder my errors and how close I came to victory. I am a mortal, but when this world ends, even I will know oblivion. And so, I ask myself, will I be given another chance to rise before it happens? Another chance to fulfill my ambition? It seems that fate has smiled after all.
Alright, so the way these games work is that you create minions and then you use them and you fight in turn-based combat. Before I create my very first minion, I'm going to assign my talent points and I'm going to grab here minions receive +3 dread. I will tell you what it is about in a minute. Alright, so we're just going to start that off and then we're going to create our very first minions. So we can pick here from this list. We can unlock new ones once you fulfill some things. For example, if we gather 19 bones, we can get bone golems. We haven't got those yet. Now in this game there are two ways you can do damage. You can hit the enemy's HP like in every other game. The HP here, by the way, is called Vigor. Or you can stress them out, you can lower their morale and you can stress them out until their stress gets to 0, and then there's a chance that they will get a heart attack every time you stress them out even more. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on this sort of stress damage because I think it's really cool that you have an option in the game to hurt an enemy without actually hurting their HP. So I've already picked the characters we're going to pick for that. So we're going to start here with the Bride of Iratus because she has some interesting abilities. I'll talk to you about the abilities once we're in combat. Now here on the right we have resources. We can also see up on top here how many of each type we've got. Currently we've got 7 of each type and we need to sort of fill it up to make her. So we need some flesh, blood, heart and bones in order to make her.
A design from my...
And she's going to be put here into our slot. Next thing I want is this Wraith. This is a really cool thing because it also has some really interesting abilities for damage. So we're going to fill this up and we're going to make him. And then I'm going to grab a mummy. So I'm going to fill this up. Alright, now lastly we're going to make a lich. So let's do that. Now at this point we've got 1 of each characters. Now it's a good idea to get some additional characters because you can go into a graveyard and in the graveyard you can assign them to do different things. So the most important building in the graveyard is the mortuary, which allows you to get healed. So essentially you place a minion here and they get healed up for 75% of their HP. Another thing I like is this excavation, which gives me a chance to get some random parts, so like bones or things like that. For that we need a skeleton. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a skeleton. I'm going to grab a skeleton over here, fill it up, create him, and I'm going to grab him, I'm going to place him in the graveyard. So I can place him over here and I can build this. First of all, we need to have enough points to build it and then we can do stuff. There are also other things that we didn't have to have enough points, which we don't have to build any more of these. We need more Digger's Soul. Now, next thing I want to show off is alchemy before we go into combat. So in alchemy, you can do different things. You can take 3 of any parts and create a part you want. So for example, I could try to get more bones or things like that. and take any parts. Then I can do distillation, which allows me to transform 2 parts and brains to get to increase the health of my people, which is really, really cool. So this allows you to heal up a little bit. Calcination gives me mana. Mana is something I, as Iratus, which is this guy, can use to do any other abilities in combat. And then we've got extraction, which is really cool because extraction allows you to create your own items. So you can assign items to your characters to do better things for them. For example, we could increase stress damage dealt by 10%. So we could try to make this soul gem, and for that we need 3 ectoplasmas. So we're going to do that. We're going to craft it, and we've got ourselves an item. Increases stress damage dealt by 10%. And what we're going to do is we're going to assign it to this rate. So we're going to give him an item like this. You can equip and unequip the item. All right, so let's go into combat, and then in the combat I'll talk to you about some of the stats as we go. So let's go to the dungeon, and here we can pick where we want to go. The kingdom had need of the vast riches buried underneath the castle, great veins of iron that promised to fuel conquest after conquest, along with ancient artifacts from a long-forgotten age. The dwarves were eager to offer their services in this project, bringing their untested mining equipment and experimental concoctions for the promise of wealth. They only needed bodies that could obey, and that the humans could provide. With dungeons filled to the brim with both criminals and rebels, there was no shortage of slaves to work these mines. Drugs were used to keep them docile as they dug ever deeper, year after year, unaware of the mortal danger that awaited them below. Alright, so here we can pick our path, and our goal is to get here to the boss fight, but we're definitely not gonna get that. But it's alright, we're gonna start off with this very first combat, and off we go. Alright, so we've got our enemies over here, and we've got different abilities. On the left you can see stats. So attack determines how much physical damage you do. Dread is for stress damage. Then you've got accuracy, which is the likelihood of hitting a target. Then you've got evasion, which is your chance of avoiding getting hit. Luck shows the chance of getting a crit chance. Armor blocks the damage, so if you get hit, the armor lowers the damage by that number. Resistance is the same for magical damage. Both physical and magical damage affect HP, and the stress damage is a separate thing that affects this second bar, which is morale. A block allows you to completely avoid a hit. So essentially, if you get 1 block, you avoid the first hit done against you, or you block it. Ward is the same for magical damage, and initiative determines who goes first. On the right here, we've got some special abilities that I, as Iratus, have that I can use my mana for. So I could move my minions. Then we have these abilities here. What's really important is that you can only use abilities if you are in the right position. So right now, what we want to use is the warning shot, and we're in a good position for that. This moves me 3 steps to the left, which doesn't matter because I'm completely on the left, and the enemy 1 step to the right, and deals 100% of dread, so 25 to 27 damage, stress damage to the enemy. So we do the stress damage to this guy. Alright. Then they get to go. They hit me a little bit. That's okay. I should have checked the movement of my minions before this combat, but that's okay. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna grab this stressed attack. We're gonna move this guy forward because I actually want to do it. So this moves me forward and hits the enemy. So let's do that. Nice. Then this raid is going to do stress damage, and it removes all buff from target. The target doesn't have any buff, so it doesn't matter. Now, we got their morale low enough, which means that they get some sort of negative effect. This is called insanity and gives some effect. What affects a dip is random. This guy got unlucky, so it lowers his luck, accuracy, and evasion. Now, finally, I can play with delay, so I'm going to use this toxic cloud, which creates a cloud at the target position for 2 rounds, dealing 27 to 31 stress damage to any enemy that enters it. Now, why is this thing useful? Because a lot of our other guys have ability to move enemies. For example, the Bride of Iratus, she can move an enemy step to the right. So once she does that, it's going to hit this guy. Then the other guy is going to take a step forward, so he's going to get hit by the cloud damage. So essentially, we're hitting 2 guys with 1 power, which is really, really cool. And then imagine if you could add another cloud to the second position, then it would be even stronger. So that's what we're going to do right now. Now, this guy has a low 0 morale, so he gets a chance of getting a heart attack every time you do extra damage. That one screamed. So that's why you want to get them as low as you can and try to do damage. Alright, so this guy got insanity, so he's also unlucky. And this guy lost all remaining strength. At the start of each turn, he loses 40% of his HP, or vigor, how it's called in this game. He keeps missing my rate, which is really, really good. We're going to use the ghostly fire. And like I said, there is still the chance of getting the heart attack, but it's not certain. So this is kind of like the disadvantage compared to if you hit regular HP, because if you get the HP to 0, they're just dead. This way it's just like a chance to give them heart attacks. So you have to kind of keep trying over and over. Now on the bottom here you can see Wrath. Over time we get Wrath, which allows us to use any extra ability. So this last ability on every character is special, and you need to have Wrath in order to be able to use it. Every time a character gets heart attack, every other minion in the party gets lowered morale, gets stressed out. So that gives you a better chance to get rid of them. Now we've got Liquid Desolation. Iratus gains 50% chance to stun enemies he damages with distraction spells. So this is an artifact. And we can equip artifacts over here. Let me show it off. So we can grab this and we can equip them. So we're going to we gain 15% chance to stun enemies that I damage with distraction spells. Nice. Whenever an enemy dies due to a heart attack, Iratus additionally gains plus 3% of the experience from the current level. This is amazing because we're going to kill all our enemies with heart attacks, so this is really, really good for us. Now our people have leveled up, so what we can go is we can go here towards the stats and we can increase some stats. Every time you get 3 level ups, you can increase one of the abilities. So we're going to focus on Dread because that's what we want on everybody. Could also focus on HP, but I'm not going to do it just yet. So with the Bride, we cannot do the Dread, so we'll do the HP. Now at this point, this guy has sort of run out of has lost some health, so we could couple things to do. We could go to the Alchemy to sacrifice some parts to get healed up. Or what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to create a second Lich, and I'm going to tell this first one to go and heal itself. I'm going to send it to the graveyard to heal in the mortuary. And we're going to fight with the other one. And we're going to keep the skeleton here to bring me different kind of parts, because I think that's pretty cool. And we are going to continue. Actually, we've got another talent point. So once we get enough talents, we could get the Sora ability, so we could use mana to do damage to the enemy, which I think would be pretty cool. Also, this is pretty good. Iratus restores an additional 5 mana after each fight. We're going to grab that because that's quite nice. I'm also going to change the position of the mummy with the Lich. You always want to make sure that the abilities you want to use, you're in good positions to use them. So we're going to do it like that. And we're going to do another thing. So we could either go to Soul Spring, Sanctuary where one collects Vigor souls, or to the Cultist, Mortal Cultist who gives Iratus with random consumable or minion specific items, or to the Grave. We could get a new minion, so let's go there. Let's go to the grave. And we can pick a zombie, skeleton, or a knight. We'll pick the knight, I think. Dark Knight, yeah. Does he have any interesting stress abilities? I don't think so. Oh, actually this Hollow Stare deals 100% damage to one person, an additional 5 damage for each buff or debuff on the target. And each time an enemy receives a buff, the Dark Knight deals 60% stress damage to it. No, we don't really like him. We're not going to keep him. But we should send him to the graveyard to do something. So, what could we build with him? So we could build the Abode of Wrath. Each minion at the Abode of Wrath gives Iratus 15 Wrath at the beginning of battle. This is quite cool, so we're going to do it as soon as we get enough Dagger Souls. So let's now do another combat. And we're going to pick the first battle squad. Watch me now, my love. Yes. Kill them all for me. Alright, so we're going to start this off with another warning shot, because I like that ability. And you can see it lowered his morale to essentially half. Then we'll do a stress attack. Nice, we already gave him Panic. So he increases initiative, lowers accuracy, and has a 30% chance to skip next turn. I'm going to place the cloud over here on him. We should really try to work on increasing the initiative of the Lich, because what we want to do is we want to make sure that we can place the cloud as soon as possible. We'll use the Impending Honor because we want to move them around out and in the cloud. Oh, it actually didn't move them. Oh, yeah, never mind. 1 year off of every dead one. Alright, let's do another stress attack. Move these guys around. And we gotta check what kind of effect he's got unlucky. Oh, and this last guy got also unlucky. Unlucky is not that great. Like, it doesn't do that much damage. I really like the one that lowers 40% of their max HP, because that essentially makes it certain that in 3 turns they'll be dead, which is good. Curse deals 75% damage and curses the target for 2 turns. This is good. Let's do that. Alright, this guy's dead. And this guy's almost dead. Good work, puppet. Or aren't the mortals dead yet? Who knows? But they aren't. Not quite dead yet. They always like to hit my lich. Like, hit any other guy. Why would you hit that? Now we gotta wait till we get that heart attack chance. Hopefully we'll get that soon. Now we could use this special ability because we've got the rate, but it doesn't really matter at this point because he already has low enough morale. We just need to get that heart attack perfect. Alright, got a lot of brains. Oh, we've got a level 3 bones. This allows us to instantly level up minions. And we've got a scroll of Skullfac. Unlocks a secret distraction spell 1-time use. Deals 12 magical damage to all enemies. Very nice. And we've got a skull and the lich healed up. So we're gonna switch them around. And we're gonna send the other one to get healed. Oh, actually I switched it with the knight. I didn't mean to do that. Good. And we'll go back to the chamber and we shall level up our rate. We'll give it more dread. Very nice. Now this, by the way, is green. That means that it's a higher level skull. So we could grab this guy and we could switch the skull for the high level one. And this is going to increase some stat points. So we get 2 additional stat points. Now if you replace it, we're going to lose the original item. That's okay, but we get 2 stat points, so we could increase the initiative on the lich, which is what we wanted. And we'll also increase evasion. We'll give him a chance to avoid an attack. So you have to kind of watch out for the background of this, because if the background is good, we actually get a really good effect. We're also going to increase the stats on my mummy. So we'll give it better luck, because we don't really care about physical damage. Alright, next, do we've got enough points? We've got enough points so we can go to the graveyard and we can build this abode of wrath. So let's do it.
To the bloodthirsty gods of old, whether they know it or not, I might be the only one left who has the insight to petition them directly.
Right, and let's go to alchemy. We could create another item. I am thinking increases. Let's do increase stress damage again, and we'll put it on. We'll put it on the Bride of Iratus. I think could be nice. Going to increase the stress damage she's going to deal. Now let's do one more battle. Oh, we've got a stale. Contains the records of past battle, which can be used to raise the level of minions over Iratus himself. So I think we're going to try to train up the minions. Nice. Which means I can increase their abilities, which is really good. So we're going to jump to abilities. I'm going to show it off. And we're going to start off with this mummy. And we care about these abilities that do stress damage. So we've got this cursing touch. We could, normally does 75% damage and it lasts for 2 turns. We could increase it so that the curse lasts for 4 turns, or so that it does more damage. Alternatively, we could focus on the impending horror. And the impending horror, if I switch it to impending misery, it's going to allow me to move the enemy 1 step, which is really good combo with the cloud. So we're going to grab that. It also increases my luck by 2, so we're going to do it. So this guy has 26% chance to get a critical hit, which is quite nice. And we're also going to increase the stats of dread on this guy. Then we'll jump to the lich. Here we've got only the ability we care about is the cloud. So we could make it either that any enemy in the cloud loses all armor and resistance, or any enemy poisoned by the cloud has 3% chance to die immediately. We're going to grab that. It also increased my luck. Then we're going to focus on the Bride of Iratus. Here, the warning shot, we could make it so the enemy does not move. That's definitely not what we want. Or so that it ignores ward. So we'll grab that. And increases her luck as well. And finally, oh, actually we could increase her stats as well too. Let's increase her evasion. So she now has a 9% chance to avoid an attack. And the rate will pick abilities wise. We could... Oh, we're gonna pick this Wind of Oblivion. Again, it just allows me to move the enemy, which is always good for me. And that is it. Now I think this is a good time to end the first episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Click on the right to watch my previous Let's Play of Iratus back when the game was in early access. And I'm probably also going to continue this run for at least 1 or 2 more episodes, so stay tuned for that. Bye bye!